there is this format that works. Like even TikTok's been doing a good job of it. Snapchat obviously does a good job of it, but in terms of the discoverability, in terms of making it really a more spotlight creator platform, like they do kind of have an opportunity there.
Snapchat released their Spotlight feed in November, which is a competitor to TikTok, with a twist. They've been paying out a pool of $1 million to the top creators every day, paying out over $110 million and counting. This has minted several millionaires, including Evan Alberto, who became a millionaire in just a few weeks. Should I be focusing on platforms that are paying out more than finding the right fit?
I love the innovation. Like, it's just the idea of dangling a carrot, at the front, and you as a creator knowing that that's there and almost guaranteed if you can get to a certain point. I just love the transparency. If I can get on that leaderboard and I get in, a certain rank on that leaderboard, I'm going to get part of this 1 million a day. Stone, they paid out 110 plus million over the last, under the last year. It's crazy.
I mean, to the point of like, do you want to focus on some of that? That's going to be an incentive for any, right? Like if you've got something that you do have that carrot on a stick, that's going to be enough to push somebody to create the content and to get into that space. That's the whole entire reason that they're doing it in the first place. I think you have to look at what the sustainability of that is going to be, though. How committed are they going to be to continuing that on, whether that's 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? I think overall the model's going to hope that, people can create other incentives probably themselves, or maybe there's other ways that they'll do it. Like I'm sure it's going to change, but that would be kind of my bigger concern with it. That being said, like if you've got an opportunity, if you can create something, if you could build an audience there, like clearly there's demand for it, even if it is boosted by this, like that's an area of opportunity. And I mean, it's great to see creators thriving through it.
I mean, it's the chicken and the egg problem, right? You launch a new product and you're trying to bootstrap that virality and in that content. We experienced this when I was working at Facebook. We were building this platform for creators, but we didn't have all the tools ready in place for creators to sustainably monetize on Facebook. So we had to go out to the market and find creators that were believing in what we're building, and we had to incentivize them. So it was essentially a contract that we would create to incentivize the creator to make content on Facebook. And then over time, as the platform got more robust, you're able to earn revenue through, ad revenue. And that's essentially what Snapchat's doing. Like they're seeing a way to incentivize a lot of production of high quality content on Snapchat. And I actually think that YouTube Shorts should take note of this. I think that it would be very smart for YouTube to roll out a program like this for Shorts. One, because I think what it'll do is it'll bring a ton of content to YouTube Shorts. It will also kind of up the quality. People become extremely innovative with the formats that they post to Shorts, and it'll just create like a bunch of virality and incentive to go there.
Right, which is a little bit different. It's a little bit more high end. These full-length shows that were with A-list actors and producers and everything, and it was a vertical format that was, and that more or less didn't pan out, right? Like it was like I don't even
It's
know
like
how
$1 billion that was like down the drain. Yeah.
And unfortunately, it just nobody was really interested in it. But there is this format that works. Like even TikTok's been doing a good job of it. Snapchat obviously does a good job of it, but in terms of the discoverability, in terms of making it really a more spotlight creator platform, like they do kind of have an opportunity there, and that's what they're trying to bust into that space as well. To your point, YouTube Shorts is trying to get into this, and it is at kind of this point of fluctuation. So I think for you guys out there, it's something that I'm considering, and I'm working on in my own content as well. I uploaded my first short. I've got a couple more that I'm going to be scheduling out and doing for over the next couple weeks. I've got some TikToks that I've been rolling. I've been testing out Reels. I've been testing out all these different spaces and seeing what kind of works for me. How can I get my foot into the door on it? I can't, of course, fully focus on it, but I do think it is a big opportunity, especially if you're newer and trying to see where there is opportunity. I think there's going to be a lot more there, especially with all these companies trying to push into these spaces. So where even if that's, where for me, I'm not really primarily focused on it, right? But if this was something that you were primarily focused on and creating content for, like that could be a really good traction avenue and can take advantage of it. And that's what we've seen a lot of creators even do on TikTok blow up, over the past even few years. But this space, it's just to say, like, this is still developing. This isn't finalized yet by any means, even with, Snapchat getting crazily involved in this as well now.
Yeah, I think Snapchat got a pretty rough few years when Instagram and WhatsApp and Facebook cloned stories. Snapchat's stock price shot down to it was like $14 a share, and everyone thought, oh, that's the end of Snapchat. But they've had a really good about year and a half, 2 years. Their stock price is at $14, and now it's at like $55 or something like that, and they're seeing a lot of engagement with their younger audience. And I think part of it is this innovation, like this idea of having leaderboards to incentivize production. I'm quite actually optimistic about Snapchat, way more than I was 2 years ago.
You got to keep in mind too that like each of these different platforms are going to have different audiences. They're going to have different demographics, different needs for content. And even if you think that like, oh, it's small compared to YouTube or whatever it is, like there's still a massive, massive audience on there, especially compared to even something new that might be brand new starting out, right? So like there is opportunity, even like, when you look at very small niches. When I was in very small niches before, even with Battlefield Hardline, which is a game that overall people didn't necessarily like so much, I managed to grow a huge community around it. It was a relatively small compared to a lot of other communities that were out there, but we had our own little niche and our own little community, and I built a lot out of that, which was awesome. And I think the same exact thing can be done here. And if it does take, the number one spot or does take over, like that's an extra big win, but it doesn't mean that just because something else is going good out there that they can't still thrive or do good in their own little environment as well.